Yeah, what's going on? This is another article that I just need to go through. We need to read through it together and process what the fuck is going on in our country when we got this one. So let's get right to it. Military leaders saw pandemic as unique opportunity to test propaganda techniques on Canadians. What the fuck are you doing? We're just like admitting it. This is like I don't think Goebbels or anyone in Hitler's Germany would come out and tell the people, yeah, we just lie to you a lot. We tell the same story about Jews being the dirty and unclean ones until you just believe it, and then you'll go along with it when we march them to camps. The same fucking thing's being rolled out now. Why would it occur to you to use propaganda techniques on your own fucking citizens? A plan devised by the Canadian Joint Operations Command relied on propaganda techniques similar to those employed in the Afghan war, where they need to manipulate all the fucking social media to be, oh, don't trust the Taliban. Oh, the Canadian forces are good. What are they going to use it for this time? Oh, it's COVID. Canadian military leaders saw the pandemic as a unique opportunity to test out propaganda techniques. Now, what are the odds that you'd have Freeland and Trudeau saying this is a unique political opportunity to reimagine economic systems, a full reset initiated on this pandemic? But if it's a fucking wholesome pandemic where everyone's in danger, why would you need a fucking propaganda campaign for it? How many clues do you need to know that we're in a fucking matrix being pushed into the wood chipper, guys? Holy fuck. Unsuspecting public. Yeah, the federal government never asked for the so-called, so this is just them clearing themselves, making the fall guy Lieutenant General Mike Rouleau. Yeah, nor did the cabinet authorize the initiative. I bet it was just some backroom meeting where it's like, you agree to take the heat for this, and we'll agree just not to court-martial you, and we rely on the zombies, who is like 90% of our society, that went up and signed up for this failed experiment. Right, so you can already convince them of that. You can let Lieutenant General Rouleau off the hook, Rouleau, because they just know. They're like, oh, well, he was in the report. He got investigated. I'm sleeping well at night knowing that. No, there should be court-martials. What the fuck? We don't have privacy? You get the military using their techniques on us? The CIA's been doing this for years. They did it in Trump's thing. General McChrystal was running an AI to lifetime fact-check Trump. And it wasn't fact-checking. They would just link to other explanations of things and link to their paid influencers to make sure you never see any friendly side of the argument for Trump's side, because they know most people are idiots who follow confidence manipulation, and they don't want to hear from, Miller, Trump's speechwriter. They want to hear from Mother Jones. They want to hear from all these sources that they've loaded up into the AI machine to make your Google searches turn out a certain way. This relationship, how deep does it go? I don't know. There's no hyperlinks on this to follow what the actual report was from the military, what this Gosselin guy who seems to let them all off the fucking hook. But, they believe they didn't need approval from higher authorities. Oops, our bad. So it was just silly. As always, they're inept, but there's no intent. They were just silly. We didn't believe. We just wanted to try something out. I mean, we were sitting around, we're paid by the government, and we just thought, let's try and run propaganda operations on our own Canadian citizens. I mean, that's something that we thought we could do. Silly us. We're going to have to go for weekend training courses on how to not lie to our fucking people that pay our salaries. Holy fuck. The propaganda plan was developed and put in place in April 2020, even though the Canadian forces had already acknowledged that information operations and targeting policies and doctrines are aimed at adversaries and have a limited application in a domestic concept. So even though it doesn't work very well, damn it, we're going to just try it out because, hey, we're silly. I mean, I'm just a lieutenant general. I do silly shit all the time. So, forgive me. Don't court-martial me. None of that'll happen because Gosselin's a friendly guy. He's just there to fucking whitewash it away and make everyone think that, hey, we barked up that tree and it's okay now. Everything's fine. A copy of the December 2nd, 2020 Gosselin investigation, as well as other related documents, was obtained by this newspaper. You didn't share it. You didn't click a hyperlink that we can all look into it. So I guess the military thanks you for that one. But I'll try and find it. I'll try and find this document because there's probably more gold within. The plan devised by Canadian Joint Operations Command, also known as CJOC, relied on propaganda techniques similar to those employed during the Afghanistan war. The campaign called for shaping and exploiting information. Why do you need to shape and exploit it? Why can't you just let it be? Why can't you let the scientific method of, no, that's not true. Here's what this report says. No, those death totals don't add up. They were done in a study that was done by a fake doctor named Saipan Desai who wanted to smear hydroxychloroquine. That's usually how it works. You follow the links and you see who the credible sources are, and it works itself out. Interfering to shape and exploit, that is propaganda. That's deceptive. Another knockdown argument for the zombies that are like, no, there's no coordinated effort. Oh, too many moving parts. Occam's razor. I'm a fucking smart elitist. No, you're not. You're stupid as fuck. And this won't even. You guys are zombies. Your whole process of your brain that calculates critical thought is just atrophied, and you don't know anything. You just know that you see me, you'll be like, oh, he was on InfoWars. He likes Alex Jones. Don't listen to him. There, my brain can get back to fucking get the new Call of Duty high score, and I'm 35. Let's see. A separate initiative, not linked to CJOC plan, but overseen by Canadian Forces intelligence officers, culled information from public social media accounts in Ontario. Of course they do. I assume you're reading everything, guys. Just, yeah, but what are you doing with it? Data was also compiled on peaceful Black Lives Matter gatherings and BLM leaders. See, they include peaceful. Peaceful. What the fuck? Are they normally not peaceful? No, you've just got to put that in there. Oh, trust me, we don't think you're violent in any way, even though those countless neighborhoods you've burned down and that you threaten people and you say it's not good enough that you're not racist. Are you fucking anti-racist? BLM, bitch! So, yeah, they're not a peaceful organization, but senior military officers claim that the information was needed to ensure success of Operation Laser, the Canadian Forces' missions to help out long-term care homes hit by COVID. Okay, whatever. I don't even know this sidetrack about BLM. It's worthless to me. They're just like mentioning stuff from the report, like probably not the good stuff. That's why I want to see this report. That's why I'm sure we will never see this report. Then Chief of the Defense Staff, General John Vance. Now there's a name we'll get back to in a bit. Shut down the CJOC propaganda initiative. Yes, sir, General John Vance. Thank you. You know the Matrix has to destroy you after you do something like that, don't you? You just know it, and we'll go into that after. After a number of his advisors questioned the legality and ethics behind the plan. Thank you, advisors. Wow, that's some good advice. There is horrible ethics behind this. There is horrible legality issues. I'm sure that in our charter we have some right to privacy. I'm not going to go fucking look it up right now, but I'm sure that you are under the charter and this is totally illegal to do. But Goslin's investigation discovered the plan wasn't simply the idea of passionate, in quotations, military propaganda specialists, but support for the use of such information operations was clearly the mindset that permeated the thinking at many levels of CJOC. Those in command saw the pandemic as a unique opportunity to test techniques. What fucking reason would COVID trigger you to go, we should start getting into propaganda here? What fucking reason would do that unless it was a Matrix operation from the get-go and we are China compromised to all fucking hell? Oh, but Goslin said it's so pervasive that it's just the culture, you know? So I'm just here doing a report. I'm not going to recommend any investigations to anyone. They're just kind of clumsy and they all kind of want to disrupt the natural flow of information to Canadians. They want to shape it. They want to exploit it. Okay, thanks a lot, you fucking genius. The views put forth by Rear Admiral Brian Santarpia, then CJOC's Chief of Staff, summed up the command attitude, Goslin noted in the report. This is really a learning opportunity for all of us and a chance to start getting information on operations into our CAF-DND routine. What? Explain yourself. A learning opportunity? What do you need to learn? Why can't you just let it be? Why can't you just let doctors talk to doctors, not let them get fired for declaring anything that goes against this mission to push us all into a fucking mandatory experiment that's clearly failed? In animals it failed, in humans it's failed by just remarkable proportions. I don't know what's your metric for a failed fucking vaccine if in months it has dwarfed all other vaccines that have ever existed in 30 years of deaths and adverse events. It's done that in months. So it totally failed. Yeah, you do need some propaganda to keep this propped up. Goslin also pointed out CJOC staff had palpable dismissive attitude towards the advice and concerns raised by other military leaders. So they don't listen to the ethical people. So we are run by unethical people that are on board with this great reset, whatever the fuck it is. We know, guys. We know it's happening now. The directive for the propaganda plan was issued by CJOC on April 8th, but it took until May 2nd of that year before Vance's order to shut it down took effect. Okay, that doesn't seem like a very long stretch of time. April, May, it's going for like just under a month. So I don't know are they trying to blame Vance? Like, oh, Vance should have been on this way faster. Everyone else is just making naive, innocent mistakes, but Vance took a fucking month. Fuck him, right? Gosselin recommended a comprehensive review of Canadian Forces information operation policies and directives, particularly those that may impact any activities for domestic missions. Yeah, you recommend a review? How about you recommend criminal charges? How about you recommend some court-martials? What a failed little whitewash gloss over, lack of hyperlinks so no one can look into it, but they've explained themselves, guys. Just forget about it. Memory hold it. Maintain your chronological autism where you forget how this all began and you just go on to the next news cycle. That's what's going on. There is an ongoing debate inside National Defense Headquarters in Ottawa about the use of information operations techniques. Some public affairs officers, intelligence specialists, and senior planners want to expand the scope of such methods in Canada to allow them to better control and shape the government information that the public receives. Fucking Pravda admitting that they're evolving their Pravda techniques to control the information. Government controls the media. They pay $700 million a year to just the ones we think aren't government. Like, we think CBC is government news. No, there's $700 million a year going to prop up that news radio top story bullshit you hear every time in your car. The CTVs, the Globals, City TV, everything you can think of that mainstream zombies in Canada watch, these guys are trying to shape with propaganda techniques. So I hope you realize what's happening and how matrix to hell we are. Military propaganda training and initiatives within Canada over the last year have proved to be controversial. You think? Holy fuck, the Canadian Forces had to launch an investigation after a September 2020 incident when military information operations staff forged a letter from Nova Scotia government warning about wolves on the loose in a particular region. Sadistic little fucks these guys are. The letter was inadvertently distributed. Inadvertently? What was your plan to forge the letter? Just post it up in the mess hall and make a joke about how you can forge letters? How did it get out? It's not inadvertent. It was very vertent. Distributed to residents, and panicked calls. So they were pinging the public to see how they deal with panic. Okay, they're real psychopaths. Mengele operations going on the minds of Canadians through our military. What the fuck is wrong with these guys? Good Lord. Nova Scotia officials who were unaware the military was behind the deception. The investigation determined the reservists were conducting the operations. They lacked formal training. Oh, they just lacked formal training, guys. There was no intent to be malevolent at all. They just weren't trained enough. And I know when I'm not trained, I'll just try random sadistic shit to people. That's just a fact of you put me in control of something as great as being able to forge letters in the military, then I am going to do what I can. Unless you train me, I'm going to write letters about wolves rampaging through the countryside. I just needed more training. Get fucking real. How dumb do these people think you are? Jesus. Propaganda techniques were not well understood by the soldiers. Oh, there's good propaganda. Because they have no respect for you, your sheep, your livestock. What can we tell the sheep that will make them walk into the slaughterhouse? We don't want to use pitchforks in the butt. We want them to just walk in. That's why we're benevolent propagandists. That's the ticket. Yet another review centered on the Canadian Forces Public Affairs Branch and its activities. Last year, the branch launched a controversial plan that would have allowed military public affairs officers to use propaganda to change attitudes and behaviors of Canadians, as well as to collect and analyze information from public social media accounts. Okay, so another review centered on that. What happened with that review? Did we say it was wrong? The plan would have seen staff move from more traditional government methods of communicating with the public to more aggressive strategy of using information warfare and influence tactics on Canadians. We can't react to this, can we? We just have no ability to understand the danger we're in and how insidious the top rungs of our military and politics are right now. No court martials. They just do a review, and we found out that they just weren't trained. They weren't using the good kind of propaganda. So we'll train them, and then next time it'll be something better that you won't discover and we'll never find out about or report on. Jesus Christ. So included among those tactics were the use of friendly defense analysts and retired generals to push military PR messages and to criticize on social media those who raised questions about military spending and accountability. Wow, that's wonderful. So just no accountability, it's propaganda because they know what's best for you. They've got a plan for all of us. Sickening. The Canadian Forces also spent more than $1 million to train public affairs officers on behavioral modification techniques. Well, that's been happening, hasn't it? I mean, they've all got you standing like a goddamned automaton wearing a mask, waiting to get your ass swabbed to get on a fucking plane. Like, I'd say that they're doing quite well. I don't know if they need more training in propaganda, or maybe we need an ethical review of the whole process. Oh, but General Vance tried to do that, and look what happened to him. Look at the girls coming out of the woodwork. We'll get to that. The initiative to change military public affairs strategy was abruptly shut down in November after this newspaper revealed details about the plan. A military investigation determined what the Canadian Forces public affairs leadership was doing was incompatible with Government of Canada communications policy and the mission and principles of public affairs. None of the public affairs leadership was disciplined for their actions. Of course they weren't. Of course they weren't. Do you think Lieutenant General Rouleau is going to be disciplined? He was the fall guy, but he's going to fall on a big pile of pillows, and then under those pillows is probably a lot of cash, probably a lot of laundered cash to just keep him nice and happy because he took one for the team, didn't he? He just, wash your hands of it. Let's get Trudeau and Sargent or Sanjit, whatever the hell our defense minister is. Let's get him out of this. Several months ago, Acting Chief of Defense Staff Wayne Eyre and DND Deputy Minister Jody Thomas acknowledged in an internal document that the various propaganda initiatives have gotten out of control. Errors conducted during domestic operations and training, and sometimes insular mindsets at various echelons have eroded public confidence. Of course they fucking have, but what did you do? No discipline? No nothing. When there's no public confidence, things need to change. But we're in the Trudeau world, and it'll be the same as fucking O'Toole, man. We'll get to that. We'll get to Pierre Poilievre helping out one of the girls that was declaring Vance to be a fucking predator. This included conduct of I/O information operations on domestic operation without explicit CDS DM direction or authority to do so, as well as unsanctioned production of reports that appeared to be aimed at monitoring activities of Canadians. So it just ends there. Not a hyperlink to be found. We can't get the full report from Goslin, but it's crazy. We've got an overwhelming abundance of proof you live in the Matrix, yet your parents will still say, nah, online conspiracy theory. I trust my government sources that are shaping and exploiting. I'm sorry, my face is doing this. I had the shot. I had a fucking booster because my information was shaped and exploited into this position, and they manipulated my behavior in the correct way to make me not listen to you and keep fucking poisoning myself. So congratulations, guys. It's an all-around fail here. It's an all-around fail. But what do we have? We got General Vance being targeted. Okay? Oh, yeah. So he speaks out. He was a month late. Oh, God help us. General Vance was a month late. So what's the Matrix got to do to him? Oh, 2021, this guy, allegations from women here. The women at the center of the misconduct against the former top dude. Let's just skip down to it. It's this chick, Octomom. An asset, perhaps. I mean, let's look into her. This is Army of Mom, Captain. Now, she claims that she had 2 kids with the general. When, after the first kid, didn't it occur to you to report this general and break the story in the news back then? Why'd you sit on it, Octomom? Major Mom. She's a captain here, but oh no, she was promoted to major. She took some courses and became a major. And she went to the Women's Affairs Council or whatever these communist things in where women that have gripes because they're in the military. I'm considering military reform, and we go back to dudes only because we got this Black Widow sneaking in, trying to destroy the life of the only good guy, trying to save us from the unethical manipulation. You wonder, did anyone else spider sense start tingling when the Matrix started attacking General Vance? I'm like, I'll bet he's one of the good guys. Of course he's one of the good guys. 8 fucking kids urges more child care compensation for big families. Oh, because you got 8 kids and your husband left you. Why do you think your husband left you? You're banging generals? And 2 of your kids come out with red hair and your husband's a brunette? Come on. You've got it. Like, this is crazy. Brennan has 8 children, most of them young. They range in age from 16 months to 16 years. This is the woman that's coming out, and she became a major general for speaking out, for crushing General Vance. And, you got to strip him. Trudeau can wear blackface 20 times. Trudeau can grope a woman and pay her millions of dollars to shut her mouth. And everything moves on. We're in the Matrix. The good guys will be targeted. General Vance was like a single dude. You're putting women in front of him? What do you think? Dude, I used to work on sites where we'd be putting together truss lines, and there'd be like, there's no chicks because it's like a trade-based field. There could be like the ugliest bull dyke of a chick come out on our set, and because the dudes haven't seen chicks in so long, they're all talking, oh my God, this girl's a hottie. You're going to put chicks in the military, they're going to start having little affairs with each other. You're sleeping in the same bunk mess. You're sleeping in the same, you're in a land where they don't even speak your language, and you're not going to meet one of those chicks that's wearing a fucking full sheet over her head. You go home, people have needs. Why do dudes become gay when they go to the jail? They look for a womanly looking dude to bang. It's the way of the penis. Vance fell for that. That doesn't mean he's a bad general. It's happening everywhere. There shouldn't be chicks mixed with dudes in the military. It should be your own department, all the nurses. It worked well in World War II. Why couldn't it work well again? So that's a separate note, but look at how it's been used. Look at how these boards set up. And it's Pierre Poilievre is coming in to say 75 per day is just unreasonable. She needs to be out in the field and have her 8 children cared for by the state. We need to change all this. Yeah, that's a real fiscal conservative Pierre we got here, isn't it? And this is from 2016. And it's Brennan is her name, right? I wonder if there's any relation to the John Brennan. Are we dealing with another CIA Black Widow plan? I mean, they did it to Max Bernier. What did they do when Max Bernier was speaking out? Put an absolute hottie in his lap. It shows she's totally into you, bro. And so he starts doing his thing with her, and then all of a sudden, I'm not even sure he left classified documents. She just claimed that. She could have stolen them. When you're dealing with Black Widows, they wait, and then they don't say anything after the first fucking kid. Oh, then kid number 2 comes out. She's probably telling him, don't worry, I'll take care of them. My husband's a real sap. He doesn't care if I come home with a, bun in the oven, and he knows that he wasn't banging me at the time of conception because I was on tour. I was in Iraq with you, buddy. So it's a weird world we live in where these people are going to compromise you and they're going to come for you no matter who you are. You got some power, they need to control you. They need to get us into that fucking wood chipper. But at least we know, at least as we're being pushed into it, we know what you're doing. And I don't know if that'll wake people up, but I sure hope it does. Anyways, we'll move on to the next story now, but thanks for tuning in. Matrix World Report coming at you live in the Beehive. You better thrive with all that honey in your money.